Hi guys, welcome to Rootstem Gaming. I'm Paul, aka Fran, and we're going to be giving you a breakdown of some of the stuff that's been happening in the wonderful world of Games Workshop this week. I'm also going to give you a breakdown of what's currently happening on the channel. Breakdown wise on the channel, we've got several videos coming out this week, of course, not including this one. We've got another battle report, which is an 8th edition heresy game. Rules for the 8th edition. It's a fan-made rule set, not by me, by another person. That can be found on rootstem.co.uk, so you can download that, have a go yourself, under the gaming section of the PDFs. That's going to be a bit of a quick format one, so it's only going to be like a 20-minute battle report, something experimental to see whether or not it's actually going to be running right. It's going to be Leman Russ versus Horus. So we are going to have 8th edition Leman Russ and 8th edition Horus on the tabletop. And they're going to be going at it in this week's game. Following that, next week we've got another 8th edition battle report between the Blood Angels and the Word Bearers. Word Bearers being definitely new to this particular channel. These are mainly just games that I can actually get recorded. Week after that particular one, so in 3 weeks' time, on a Thursday, there'll be another new Necromunda game between two Escher gangs. This is not part of a campaign, it was just a one-off game that we've done for the channel. So we've got more Necromunda coming. I know I've promised that a while back and it's been months since I've been able to actually get a Necromunda game recorded. And then what I've just recorded today is another Titanicus game, because I know a lot of you like the Titanicus that we actually report on. Hopefully all the rules are right this time, because we seem to get those wrong on a regular basis. But yeah, we've got another fantastic Titanicus game coming up. And that'll be actually heading up in 4 weeks' time. Don't get me wrong, if you are wanting to get access to these battle reports exclusively early, you can go to rootstem.co.uk, sign up for £3 a month. There's a sign up bit on the gaming section and the homepage, and you can use PayPal, credit or debit cards. That will support me as a creator as well and support the channel, but it'll also mean you get access to all this lovely battle report stuff early. You also get access to all my painting videos early as well. Now before we crack on and start talking about Genestealer Cult, because of course you know I'm going to talk about Genestealer Cult, it's one of my favourite 40k armies, and we're just going to have a go at a few things that came out during the Las Vegas Open this weekend. So I'm going to start with what a lot of my friends have been talking about, is of course the Chaos stuff that's been coming out. We've got some very exciting new miniatures. It seems to be a new Chaos Sorcerer that's going to be released. We've definitely got some new Chaos Space Marines that's going to be in this what's called a Shadow Spear box. Very similar to what they've been doing with a lot of other box sets, where they release two factions in one set, give you half for one and half for the other. It's always good if you get together with a friend, so then you can always end up with two lots of one set and they can end up with one lot of the other. Very good way of splitting the cost as well. Yeah, the Chaos Marines for this particular set look amazing. It is going to, by the looks of it, we've got some new obliterators coming as well. Those obliterators look amazing. I do like, I do go against obliterators every now and again, and the obliterators are quite difficult to combat sometimes. We've also got a new Venom Crawler engine for Chaos. This is going to allow demons apparently easier access to the real space. So I can see going forward, a lot of Chaos players may actually have more on the lines of a crossover army. So you're probably going to have a bit of Chaos Demon mixed in with your Chaos Space Marines. It's how it should be, let's be fair. I always used to like Chaos when I did collect them for the huge variety of figures that you could also have. Also in this box, looks like we're getting some more new Space Marines. Space Marines seems to be the 8th edition way. We're getting people that look like they're Primaris snipers, including, I don't know if it's a librarian or some form of, looks like a librarian mainly due to the cloak, but it might not be. Could be another Primaris lieutenant. Delicious. We've got some new snipers coming out. They seem to be in the Strike Force box set. There's possibly going to be some new Marines coming out in this Strike Force box set, but they haven't really, Games Workshop's not really given us a lot. They've mainly whetted the appetite with the Chaos Marines that's coming out, and the Chaos Marines do look badass. Of course, to top it all off, we got shadowy looking, roundly looking, completely in the dark looking images of what appears to be a new Abaddon figure. I hope to God it's a new Abaddon figure, because of course that one, Abaddon, was released. That model that's currently in the range, I believe, was the second edition version of Abaddon. Or Abaddon, or however you want to pronounce him. And it is looking old and it is looking tired, Games Workshop, so fingers crossed for Phoenix Lords next. We did get what looked like either a CAD drawing or some form of resin regarding Sisters of Battle as well. Makes me a little bit excited for that. Apparently we're going to be releasing some more information regarding Sisters of Battle in the next couple of weeks. But at the moment we seem to have just got what looks like some form of standard bearer for the Sisters. It does look alright. The bolter looks slightly different to what the original models look like, and of course it's on a larger base, which will annoy me because all mine are on smaller bases. Might have to go out and buy bigger bases, because I don't think I bought them second hand and the bases have not been done. So it might be worth just clipping maybe the metal bits off and buying some bigger bases for my sisters. So on to pre-orders. No surprise that a lot of the pre-orders for next week are also Genestealer Cult related. They're mainly doing the Ridge Runner and of course Squads of Adherents, which I'll get to that in a moment when I do a review of the Codex Genestealer. Of course, Ridge Runner Scouts are going to be that Ridge Runner is going to be the nice looking 4-wheel buggy, not the little quad bike, but the bigger buggy that looks a bit like it should belong to the Elysian drop troops. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the differences between the Index Genestealer Cults and the Genestealer Cults as they now appear in the Codex. So little rule changes. We've all seen which cults have come out, because of course Games Workshop's already published them. If you want to know where they are, have a look at their Warhammer community page on Facebook. You'll find links for that everywhere. They've also gone about how the cult ambush works now, which is not as convoluted as the previous one, so you're not rolling a lot of d6s. You also, I think, have lost a lot of the hidden "I'm coming up next year" flair. You can no longer turn up next to a unit unless, of course, you're starting to use some command points and maybe moving an extra d6. I'll get to those in a bit, because, of course, command points and the stratagems towards the back end of the book. But Cult Ambush, to me, does not feel the same as what it did when it came out in the 7th edition of the book. So just mainly a clarification on the unquestioning loyalty. Now what it says is before you take the damage, so before you start removing the wounds from the actual guy itself, or if you take a mortal wound, you can allocate that hit on a 3+ to a unit, and that unit takes a mortal wound rather than you being obliterated. That's pretty good for your characters, because it means that they've now put a lot of characters into Genestealer Cults, some in the Elite section, some in the HQ section, meaning that these new characters and the old characters are going to be able to stay alive a lot longer than they did before. Okay, so Primus, not the Primus, the Patriarch and the Magus, these two units have really not changed. They're pretty much exactly the same as they were in the Index, which I've got in front of me, as well as the Codex. So both of those units have remained the same. No real changes to them at all, not even stat line changes. So the next couple of units is the Primus and the Icon Ward. The Primus and the Icon Ward's stat line has not changed at all from the Index, apart from you can no longer stick a familiar with the Primus. Why you used to be able to stick a familiar with the Primus in the Index, I have no idea, but Meticulous Planner, of course, has changed with the Cult Ambush no longer being the same. Basically, when this unit turns up on the battlefield, you can select an enemy unit, and that when you target that enemy unit with either that character or any units within 6 of that character, they can then reroll 1s to wound. So you still get your +1 to hit in the fight phase, but rerolling 1s to wound for certain units is a bit like having a Lieutenant ability next year. His Needle Pistol has also been improved and causes D3 damage now rather than a straightforward 1. So basically you're going to be hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s unless it's a vehicle or Titanic, and you're going to be causing D3 damage. The Icon Ward is exactly the same as he is in the Index, but it does have new Bestial Devotion, which is basically you can reroll all bestial vigor rolls of 1 for friendly adamant models whilst within 6. So it seems to be that we are giving adamants some love. I think it's a good idea because adamants were pretty decent in the 7th edition codex and kind of took a bit of a hit with giant nerf back when it came to the index. They were not good at all. So that's nice to see those guys actually getting a little bit of tender sweet kisses from Games Workshop. Last but not least, on the HQ front is the new Jackal Alphas, which is basically an infiltrator by the looks of it on a bike. Nice stat line, 5 wounds, 2s to hit with his Jackal sniper rifle, which is quite a nice sniper rifle, which causes a -2 and a D3 damage. Personally think all sniper rifles should do that, because I do think the mortal wound thing's great, but it can be a little bit, snipers can be a little bit weak. I suppose all don't really cost that much in the new game. All the sort of biker stuff seem to have a -1 to hit, which does apply to this HQ, so these are going to be quite difficult units to try and pin down with shooting. Although I do think some scrupulous Space Marines will just charge him, because they've only got a 5+ save. And his special abilities allow him to sight a particular target, start a shooting phase, select an enemy unit that is visible to and within 36 inches of the model till the end of a phase, add 1 to all hit rolls for attacks made by friendly cult units while within 6 of this model, or within 12 if they are a biker. So he's going to be pretty awesome to try and lead some of these outrider units, which you're probably going to be seeing quite a lot of. Only one real small change in the Acolyte hybrids. The hybrids now basically have heavy rock cutters D3 damage and as a -1 to hit, whereas it used to just be a straight 2 damage. And I think we did bring it in as an errata that it was a -1 to hit, but again, sometimes with errata, a lot of people wait for the books before actually doing anything. For every 5 models up to 2, may replace them with the various different demo charges and rock drills. So they've not really changed that much at all from the main book, but being able to have the traits on there is going to be quite interesting and nice, because I do think the Acolyte hybrids are going to now be a mainstay of the Genestealer cult army. Next up is the Neophyte hybrids. Now the Neophyte hybrids are a little bit different because you've now got a new entry with Brood Brothers Infantry Squad. So the Neophyte hybrids that you used to use that were guardsmen, air quotes, that you used in your armies are now 2 separate squads. So you've got your Neophyte hybrids, which are just your ones with the mining lasers, and then you've got your Brood Brother Infantry Squads. Now your Brood Brother Infantry Squads, as far as I'm aware, don't take the effect from the cult ability, which is probably going to make some people upset, but not all of them. I mean, I do use 1 or 2, but nothing major. I'll probably with mine, because mine are not really Brood Brothers. I kind of created them before the Genestealer Codex in 7th edition came out for a campaign. So I'll probably keep using those as Neophyte hybrids. Hybrid metamorphs are exactly the same as before. No real change on there, and so are the Pure Strain Genestealers. No change on that front. I didn't really think you'd be changing the Pure Strain Genestealers. The Pure Strains, of course, cannot take effect from your cult trait, which is, I do believe, is a good idea, because, of course, they're just going to be sat and set within a particular range. Although if you're mixing them up with a Tyranid army, you're just going to take your Pure Strains as part of that and just take your Tyranid traits rather than taking the Genestealer cult ones. Adamants now have changed, which is a good thing. Adamants now have to be a squad of 5, which is really irritating because I've only got 4, so I'm going to have to look at getting some more when they come out. You can include 5 Adamants, and for every 5 Adamants in a unit, 1 Adamant can be replaced with an Hypermorph Adamant, which is basically their version of a Sergeant. They've got new heavy improvised weapons, which I believe came from Tooth and Claw. Which you make 2 attacks for each attack with that weapon when they've got 2 attacks anyway, so that would mean that an improvised weapon's got 4 attacks times 2 strength, which makes them strength 10, -1 and 2 damage. They're horrible. They're going to be quite horrible, to be honest with you, especially since they need 3s to hit, and then if you give the power hammers need 4s to hit. So I'll probably, if I do buy some more, I think, because they are in the pre-order as a box of 5, so I'll probably get one of those and then just use 5 of them as just improvised weapons. Now, they have increased and upgraded the Bestial Vigour. So the Bestial Vigour still ignore that damage characteristic by 1. So if you do get hit by a weapon that causes more than 1 damage, it's reduced by 1 to the minimum of 1. But you can also ignore wounds on a 5+ now. And of course mix it in with some icon wards. You can then make sure that you can reroll any 1s. There's going to be some other things as well, which I'll get on to, which actually allows adherence to be increased when it comes to, I think with some of the times they can have like a 4-up. I think there's some stratagems that allows you to do it as well, where you can have a 4-up, feel no pain, rather than 5+, but I'll get to that in a moment. Now, next in the elite choices for the cult is going to be all the new characters. They seem to have quite a generic stat line, not deviating too much. Some have got a slightly better weapon skill, some have got a better ballistic skill, maybe more attacks. They all seem to have about 4 wounds apiece, so there's no real difference in how survivable they will be. You've got the Clamorous, which of course has got the Loud Hailer, adding 1 to your leadership, and you add 1 to advance and charge rolls made. Now that, I mean, that's for cult units. That could be quite interesting. You've got a couple of Chaos Genestealer cult squads quite close, because +1 to their advance and then +1 to the charges, if you manage to get them quite far up, they can end up charging quite a lot of units, possibly even in turn 1. They can also cause mortal wounds on random enemy units that are within 12 inches, or I think it's D6 inches for every unit that's within 6. The Locust is got Locust Blades. I'm not sure if we've seen, have we seen a model for that? I can't quite remember. They're really good bodyguard units. They actually take the hit for the characters on a 2+ rather than taking it on a 4+. So if you're going to get hit by a last cannon on your Patriarch, having a Locust nearby just to take that 1 mortal wound when it's got total 4 wounds, that's quite nice. And then Sudden Strike in the charge phase as well. You can perform heroic interventions up to 6 inches. And it's got a 5-up invulnerable save. So I can see a couple of these guys being in armies. You've got a Sanctus, which of course is the one with the sniper rifle. I believe it's the one that looks like it's got like 3 eyes with a cloak, you know, the goggles. Quite good weapon skill, ballistic skill of 2+. These guys are going to be more sort of taking out enemy psychers or enemy opposing enemy psychers or enemy characters. Because again, it's got a sniper rifle and a bio dagger. It is also known as a cult assassin. So if you do have one of these models in your army, your perfect ambush stratagem has a command point cost of 0. So I can see again just a couple of these characters creeping into all the armies. I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to them. I'm going to be looking at getting some of these quite early on if I can. Calamorph, which of course is the multiple shot auto pistol guy. He is insane. You can target characters without them being the closest. It is heroically inspiring to units around him. And if he kills, well, that's only if he kills though enemy models within range. Now the thing is with this guy, he does hit on 2+. He's got 3 Liberator Auto Stub pistols, which are 2 shots apiece. Strength 4, -1 and 2 damage. So these are really quite powerful, especially when you're versing like Imperial Guard characters or Orc characters maybe, where you're hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s, having a -1, especially on an Orc character. If it's not got some form of armor and it's causing 2 damage, because he's got 3 of these pistols, this is 6 shots with this character. And then of course he can inspire people around him. That's going to be nice. And then of course my favourite model that they recently released was the Nexus. That's the one with the little sort of hovering platform that he's got in front of him that represents Games Workshop HQ. And because I go to Games Workshop HQ, we're only an hour's drive away from Nottingham here. It's quite nice to see him put that little bit of detail in there. He's not that great though. I mean, he's only got an auto pistol, and he does get your command points back. But that's about it. He's not really a major player, which is a bit of a shame because I really do like that model. And then, of course, the last one is the Biophagus. I think that's how you pronounce that. I love these random words that they give you. Pardon me. He's mainly going to be for people that's going to take adherents. So, of course, I'm going to be taking adherents. I'm probably going to have a Biophagus, if I'm completely honest with you. He gets to increase resilience. Well, either you roll a D3 for you can enhance one friendly adherent unit within an inch at the end of any of your movement phases, and you roll a D6. At the end of one of your movement phases, on a one model from a selected unit is slain. Then roll a D3 to refer to the chart below. Alright, so you can actually... one model from the unit is slain, especially when there are a couple of wounds. You don't really want that going on. But I'm hoping to have... I think a lot of people end up having 9, because of course, if you were like me and you got the original set with 4 in there, and then you're going to have to buy another set containing 5, you're going to end up with 9 adherents. These can include improve, I will get this right one day, your attacks, your toughness or strength. I think attacks for me would be very, very good with adherents, especially if you've got 3 to 4 attacks apiece with those improvised weapons, doubling it up to 2, so you've got 6 attacks with those strength 10 improvised weapons. I know it's only a -1, but if a Space Marine's only rolling 50-50 to save, it's better than nothing. Next up to get some good stuff coming in is these Ridge Runners. These are mainly like armoured buggies. They're not amazing. If you've ever come across I've got one for my Imperial Guard and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is called. Turos, that's it, or Turos Venerator. These Ridge Runner units are very similar. They can actually have heavy weapons on there, heavy mining lasers, mortars. I'll probably take missile launchers. Now, the other thing is with these is that they're not stabilised, so they're going to be hitting on 5s if you move in them. So you'll probably move them into a position and then start shooting, or try and keep them in position in a certain area. The heavy mortar's not so bad with the 48-inch range, but I do like my rocket launchers in these particular games. Flare launchers do mean that they can ignore wound and hit rolls on a 6, and can always advance 6 inches. If we're within 6 inches of a biker unit. It is a scout vehicle, so you can move the unit before the game begins, and it needs to be 9 inches away from enemy models, and the enemy models don't receive any cover from units on there, which is alright. I don't know whether or not it might be worth the cost of having one of those. I might just prefer to take more Goliath rock grinders. And of course you've got the jackals, Atalan jackals. Sounds too much like the Attilan Rough Riders on that one there, doesn't it? They've just got a variety of weapons, as your basic sort of. I think one of them can have a mining laser on the, if I call it a wolf quad, which you actually get in the set. I do like the fact that you get like 4 figures plus the wolf quad in the set, so you've pretty much got a squad straight off there. 1 leader free, and can include a wolf quad, which you get in the initial box set. I'll probably, if you're going to have a wolf quad, you're probably going to be giving it a mining laser just to be able to try and take down some nasty vehicles if possible. You can have a power pick. I believe that's for the leader only. And then, of course, you can have a variety of shotgun, I believe a shotgun miniatures. Some of them you might even have double-barreled on there, which looks pretty cool. Doing little tiny nods to Arnold Schwarzenegger. They've got a nice movement at 14 inches. Again, a toughness of 4 and 2 wounds, but a 5+ armour save is going to let them down. It is -1 to hit for skilled outriders, so then you're not going to be able to take them down quite easy. But if you do hit them, I think they are just going to, go. The riders are going to go arse over tit. Your cult vehicles from Imperial Guards, your armoured Sentinel, your standard Sentinels, and your Lehman Russ battle tanks, they've all really remained the same. There's no great changes to those at all in the actual game. You can have a Brood Brothers heavy weapons team. So you can actually have a heavy weapons team dedicated, a bit like the Imperial Guard ones. So you can just have them as Brood Brothers in your army. That is quite a nice addition, rather than just having to rely on infantry squads to be able to take 1 heavy weapon within 10. Having to be 3 las cannons or 3 rocket launchers is always nice. And of course you've got the Goliath Rock Grinder. Now, there's a couple of changes been made to the Goliath Rock Grinder. It's still only a 10-inch move. It's still 6 attacks when it's at full profile, but The strength of the vehicle has gone up 1 to a 6, which means that if you do get a charge off, it's going to be strength 9 with your drill dozer blade. It also still gets the additional D3 attacks, and it is a 4+ to hit rather than it being a 5+ to hit. So rather than it being a 1 in 3 chance, it's now 50-50. And you can still take your cashier demolitions with the actual unit. There's some nice stratagems that go with that as well. And you can still take your heavy mining lasers. Now the heavy mining laser has got better. Sorry, the mining laser is D3 shots now, right on that vehicle rather than 1. Your clearance incinerator is 2d6, so they've made the weapons better. Definitely made the weapons better. Heavy seismic cannon is now a he's now got an extra shot. Well, an extra 2 shots at long wave, so a heavy 6, strength 4, -1 and 2 damage. And of course it's a heavy 3 at short wave. So if you're moving this unit forward, there's more chance of you getting hits with it, to be honest. The Goliath truck and the Cult Chimera, they both remain exactly the same. And of course there's the Tectonic Frag Drill, which is now a fortification. Single model, and it just allows certain units to be able to go underground. I'm not really going to go into that because that's more of a terrain piece. And I think I might, if I get one, probably do a particular piece just on that frag drill alone. Now when it comes to points cost on the units, some units have dropped 20-30 points across the board, such as the Patriarch. Some of them have gone up a little bit. I'm not going to question that, Games Workshop. Certain units like the hybrids have come down to 7 points a model rather than being 11, not including your weapons, but then 3 points a figure. It's worth it because I do think 11 points for an Acolyte hybrid was very expensive. The Adamants have kind of stayed the same, even though they've got renewability, but this is the biggest thing for me. Power Hammer used to be, where's my old book? There we go, 24 points for a Power Hammer. It's now 4 points for a Power Hammer. Power Pick has come down to 9 points from 16. So the weapons of choice are definitely down. They're not as expensive anymore. They've realised that these weapons are not as great as what they used to be, which I'm glad they've realised they're not as great as what they used to be, because man, oh man, they were very expensive. A lot of the characters, of course, are quite cheap, and the pure strains have come back up to their 15 points a model. That's definitely confirmed now within a new codex. I did think when they dropped them suddenly to 5 points was a bit insane if you ever checked that out. And then of course they brought them back up to a healthier 15 points. But the fact that they brought down the hybrids to 7 points apiece makes me a happy bunny. Now heading into the stratagem realms, I'm not going to go too much. I don't want to get done by Games Workshop on this, but there's a few nice ones. Devoted Crew, which is 1 command point, allows your vehicle to be at the top line of its profile for the remainder of until the end of that turn. That's nice for me because my Goliath Grot Grinder gets shot to crap every game I've played it in. So that would be nice to be able to actually get a charge off with the damn thing for once. Monstrous Vigour, it's +1 to the Bestial Vigour of Adherents, but it's 2 command points. I think that's a bit over pricey for that. Not up to me though, to be honest with you. You've got some hypermetabolism, like, you know, for your Tyranids, allowing you to be able to gain your wounds back lurking in the shadows for 2 command points, unless a particular unit is the closest infantry unit. It can't be shot at. I think that's going to be quite good if you've got a couple of Genestealer Genestealer squads running forward, and then it's like one's quite large. If they're all in terrain, just lurk in the shadows, can't be shot at. Make sure that you have to kill the other unit first. Now, like I was saying with the ambush, everyone being within 9 inches now, there's no real special abilities for them. You can use a perfect ambush, which allows you to move D6 up. But this is 3 command points. This is very expensive to be able to do that type of thing with your units. But I think the fact that you're a lot cheaper in points cost will probably be able to not bad in the head. Return to the Shadows is still there, which is always nice, and you can, which is quite a nice one, Cult Reinforcements. Any your movement phase, select a Genestealer Cults unit from your army that has a troops battlefield roll. you can return up to D6 slaying models to the unit. Ooh, that's going to be good. Again, another one for neophyte hybrid units there. Make sure that you've got some big squads and just chuck them in. Chuck them in with the cult reinforcements. I think I might do that. I think it might be time to just get a giant squad of those. Make sure you're using a couple of command points for auto-passing your morale tests and sticking extra units in there. Just trying to jump in as best as you possibly can, especially now they're going to be cheaper. Some new psychic powers, mass hypnosis and mind control are still there, and I think it's might from beyond as well that allows a Genestealer cult infantry or biker select a friendly Genestealer cult infantry or biker unit, and you can add 1 strength and attack characteristics to all the models. A warp charge of 7 though for might from beyond, and mass hypnosis and mind control, so all of them are quite expensive to use. You can have Psychonic Blast, which is a bit like adding more mortal wounds, and Mental Onslaught is another way of adding mortal wounds. But my favourite is probably going to be Psychic Stimulus, which if a unit's advanced, it can still charge. So if you've got a unit of, a huge unit, again, of hybrids, moving forward, advance them, play Psychic Stimulus, allow them then again to charge, maybe a couple of different command points, bring some guys back on a D6 if they get killed in the following turn. That's why I think, to be honest with you, hybrid units are going to be the way forward for this army. Possibly some hybrid units and sticking them in vehicles if you possibly can, because even vehicles can use the initial cult ambush, not turn up 9 inches away, but can use that cult ambush to try and make sure that we're not shot up on the first turn of a game. Warlord traits are a little bit disappointing. You've got one where friendly infantry and biker units can perform a heroic intervention whilst they're within 6 inch of your warlord, even if they are characters. Yeah, even if they're not characters. So a 6 inch, I don't know whether. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I completely forgot to use it a lot of the time anyway in the initial game. Yeah, things like Shadow Stalker, -1 to hit. +1 to your warlord's attacks and strength, or maybe ignoring, minusing 1 from the amount of damage suffered to your warlord. But the thing is with things of that nature, especially the Born Survivor with the -1 to the damage coming in, a lot of your armor saves are only like 4 or 5s, and when you start including minuses in that, it's not really a big save. So you tend to, I mean, especially I've found with Patriarchs, since I've not really changed them, Patriarchs are normally whittled down by smaller arms fire, or maybe sometimes by a lucky big hit. So it's not something I'm really going to be looking forward to using in the Warlord traits there. They're not the greatest, they're just a little bit generic, and they've appeared in other codexes quite frequently. Now again, so that, I don't give away everything. The relics that you've got for the cultists, we've got Icon of a Cult Ascendant, which is what of course you had before from the Chapter Approved 2017. You've got add 1 to hit rolls for the bearer's melee weapons in Scourge of the Distant Stars. And if your opponent rolls a 1, the attacker's unit suffers 1 mortal wound after all attacks has been resolved as like some form of counter attack. Sword of the Void's Eye, which replaces a bone sword, so that's mainly going to be used by your Magus. Yeah, no, Primus. Aha, I'll get it right eventually. I've had some cheese and a bit weird. They're not the greatest. Again, they're just little tiny things. Add 1 to saving throws, unit can't fire Overwatch. Amulet of the Void Worm, and that's probably something you're going to be sticking on a Patriarch, so a Patriarch can charge in there. It's probably might have a 3+ save, and then he might not be able to be shot up when he's actually getting charging into particular units. But again, it all depends on who you're going in against. A 5, maybe a 3+ save is going to be pretty decent against the standard attacks, but people don't tend to have standard attacks against Patriarchs. They tend to stick extra things in there. And that was my quick overview of the Genestealer Codex that was out this week. So this review might be a bit of a long one. It's a bit of a long one with a little bit of news in there. Not a lot by the looks of it, for 40k going to be coming out next week, but there's possibly going to be a lot more. I would say there's probably going to be a bit more pre-order in there, you know, once the hype for there's probably going to be more, because I think there's more Warhammer Fantasy, more of the Age of Sigmar stuff coming out this weekend, rather than so there's a lot of pre-orders I think gone up for that, so that might be taking precedence next week. So we might get to see, you never know, we might get to see a bit more stories of Sisters of Battle and maybe some more information regarding Abaddon through the week, which would be quite nice to see. Well, thanks for watching, guys, anyway. Like I say, we've got several battle reports going to be exclusive to the website for now, and they're going to be released in the coming weeks on the YouTube page. But if you want to get access to them early, go over to rootstem.co.uk just to sign up now. Right, thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.